What is up? Sydney Barker. We are so excited to have a Tar Heel on the podcast. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I cannot wait to hear about just your junior year so far at UNC. And really, I think you're at the university with the best colors. I know it's University of National Champions, but really it's also university with the best colors, in my opinion. But I love to start off every podcast by asking my guests what they're all about at the moment, because I think it is interesting and fun to know what people are super into, whether it is a new show, a new food, a restaurant, a deep life goal that you're working towards right now. So what is Sydney all about right now?
That is a good question because, okay, so I'll start with, right now, it feels like I'm all about basketball because we're like just in the prime of the season. But outside of basketball, I'm super into watching a bunch of movies right now with my teammates and like roommates because I live with some of my teammates. Just like cozied up on the couch with a blanket, like with a nice hot drink, just watching like Christmas movies, like rom-coms from like the early 2000s, just all the things. Like that's been so fun, especially like not with as many classes now since exams are over. And I'm just all about like going to coffee shops too, like getting a coffee, reading a book, talking with friends. Like those are my main things that I just like love to do right now outside of basketball.
I love it. So you got the cozy girl aesthetic going on with you and your
Yes.
teammates. Okay, so I want to ask you all the things, but I do want to get to basketball. So I guess my one question would be, what movie has been the best movie that you guys have watched or that you have really enjoyed?
We've watched a lot the past few days, like probably an embarrassing amount, which is probably not good. But let me think of the ones we just watched. I did watch Crazy Rich Asians, which is just like a classic. I love that one. And then we watched the one with Blake Lively by Colleen Hoover. It Ends With Us.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's good. I read the book before, so like I really enjoyed it. And I'd seen it before, but I just watched it like with another one of my friends, and it just made it better. So those two are probably like the top two right now.
I like it. I definitely, while I was in season in college, know that you would come back and you're just like, my body is done. Like, let's just lay down, watch film, watch a movie, do all the things. So that is fun. And it's definitely the right time to be doing that. But before we talk basketball, I would love to ask you about something really cool that I saw that you were involved in, Coach for College. Can you describe what this was?
Yeah, it was an awesome opportunity. They kind of advertised it through the school, but it was a 3-week program where I went with a bunch of other college athletes from different schools. Like there were some from Indiana, Princeton, Harvard, some other schools. Like we all went to Vietnam for 3 weeks and got to like coach and teach kids, like middle school, high school age kids. And just like hang out with them and just hang out there. And there were also other coaches from like Vietnamese colleges out there. So that was an awesome experience too, just being with them and being with the kids and teaching. And obviously there was a language barrier. So it was just cool to see how we could communicate in other ways. And like we still got to know the kids super well and just about the culture there and so many different life experiences and ways of living. And it was just an awesome opportunity. So thanks for asking.
That is so cool. Yeah. And it's awesome too, because as a college athlete, you typically don't have the opportunity to go to miss any practice, let alone probably multiple weeks of school and basketball. So how did that unfold?
Yeah, so we had like 2 summer sessions. The first summer session is like I think it's May, beginning of June, but people get to go home and then we come back June and July. And I asked my coach earlier in the spring if I could do it, and luckily she let me. I think we had like maybe a week and a half left of practice because I left like July 23rd, and I think everybody went home like early August. But she let me miss like the last week and a half which I didn't want to miss anything either, but I thought it was a cool opportunity. So luckily she let me miss that. And then right when it ended, like I missed the first day of school. So that was crazy, like going straight from that to school. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like, and we had practice when I got back that first day, and I was just like,
Oh
I
my
feel so
goodness.
weird, but it was really worth it. But props to my coach for letting me skip some.
Yeah, that's awesome that she allowed you to go on that trip. But man, that is a quick turnaround for
Yes.
sure, especially the first day of school. I always think the first day of school is harder when you do have practice, or maybe it's for me in lacrosse, it was the first day back from winter break would be like the first day of school and your run test, to start off the season. And you're like, okay, here we go, like big day. So that is a big day. But when you look back at that trip, is there a favorite moment that sticks out?
Yes. So we each had like our own homeroom. Like we would have like us and another coach would have our homeroom, and they did this thing where it was kind of towards like the second or third week, but we got to individually meet with the kids. Like, so it would be us, one of the kids, and one of the Vietnamese coaches so that they could help with like translating and stuff. Because some of the older kids knew how to speak English, but not the younger ones. But in those like one-on-ones, we really got to just like ask them and talk with them like about their life story. Like, was there anything that was bothering them or any challenges or just anything that they wanted to share? And it was just so cool because like we just got so deep with the kids and got to like just understand like the culture is a little bit different there, and just understand where like who they were and where they were coming from and what they loved and like what they wanted to do. And it was just super like impactful and meaningful to connect with them like
Oh my
that.
gosh, I'm sure. And I think what's so cool about your trip and that story is, to be a college athlete and being a college athlete, it's so easy to become filled with like, oh, it's all about me and my season and how well I'm playing and how well my team is doing. And, how is the school liking what's going on with their team? And it's so easy to get absorbed in like your own experience with
Mhm.
being a college athlete. But the cool part of being a college athlete is that you have a platform to be a superhero in young kids' perspectives, and whether they're with you at Chapel Hill or not in some totally other country. And I think it's so cool that you were able to use just the experience that you have of the game of basketball, but also the title of like a UNC athlete representing there. So that is so cool. But I do want to talk some hoops with you.
Yeah.
When did you start taking basketball very seriously?
I think when I think like I really started taking it seriously like seventh or eighth grade. I was gonna say sixth or seventh grade, but I just noted that right now.
We're not doing it. We're not doing
I
it.
know,
We're
I
not
know.
doing it. Have you had a game? I have to know. Have you had a game this season where the kids erupt and are screaming the 6-7 thing? Because I've seen this all over women's college basketball everywhere this season.
Yes, no, our first game, it was the kids' game, and we were at 64 points, and we were like, we don't want a two, we want a three, like to get the 6-7. But my teammate, she hit a three, and the kids were like, I was just looking around, I was like, this is one of the best moments ever because they were, oh my gosh, it was so funny. And she didn't even know that she got the 67th point. She was just like, but then
She
she
was like,
realized after the
everybody
game.
really likes me right
I
now.
know.
That's so
Yes.
good. Oh, I love that. That is so good. But it was seventh or eighth grade, is what you
Yes.
said.
Yes, yes, yes.
I love that. And I love asking college athletes specifically, what drill or skill or game did they play when they were outside shooting hoops for hours by themselves or at the field by themselves? And what were you doing when it was just you out there on the court growing up? Because I think those specific moments and those things that you do repeatedly really transform you into who you become as an athlete later. So, what drill was Sydney doing growing up all the time practicing by herself?
Yeah, it's so funny that you say that because when I look back at my like childhood and stuff, I was just always outside. Like I always would make my dad put a hoop up. And I would always just do ball handling drills like all the time. Just like I would go on YouTube and look up like what like professional athletes were doing or what college athletes were doing, and then I would try to go back and do the same thing in my driveway. And it's funny whenever we do like ball handling drills now, like with my teammates in high school, because a lot of people don't like it they'd be like, "Oh, we don't," because like you have to kind of get low and it kind of burns and just like the repetitive. And I'd be like, "No, like I love it. Like this is my stuff." So I would always work on those in the driveway.
I will say I used to be fascinated as well with the ball handling drills, especially like the two ball drills. And
Yes.
I would just do those in my driveway up and down, up and down. And
Hmm.
I wasn't probably the best player on my high school basketball team or my AAU team. So like I had to have good ball handling skills.
Hmm.
And like to this day, because I did it so much, I could probably pull out a little like figure eight with two
Hmm.
balls under my legs. Like I could probably do it. But I think that is so awesome. And I love to know what people have to say about their drill. But I would love to know about, how you landed at UNC, but I guess I'm going to start with a really cool trip, another trip that you went on with the team this fall to Cancun. What was that experience
Yes.
like?
Yeah, it was awesome. A great time. Luckily, we won all our games, which was cool, and we played some really good programs. I think all of them will probably win their conference, like this season, so that was cool. And then the weather was beautiful because it was cold here, like not super cold, but cold for North Carolina, I guess. So it was nice to get out by the beach, by the pool, like just, have some like more vacation things to do as well. Um, so yeah, it was awesome. Just a really cool trip, nice team bonding for sure too.
I'm sure. And I saw that. I'm like, shoot, man, you've been a lot of places already this year. It is so exciting. But what a cool opportunity to go there with your team and obviously play basketball and prepare for the season, but also be somewhere cool like
Yes.
Cancun. I mean, come on, it's like a vacation spot.
Yes.
So super awesome. But just part of your story, you initially walked on to UNC, but
Mhm.
had other scholarship offers coming out of high school. Can you just describe your recruiting process and what ultimately led you to the University of North Carolina?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of debated. I played AAU, all through high school and um had a lot of mid-major opportunities, which I was like heavily considering as well. But I just always like had this dream to just go to UNC, just because I had grown up around it and had been to games and had seen just how great it was and the legacy that it had. So yeah, I just always wanted to do that, and it was a really hard decision. Like it came down, I remember it was kind of stressful because it was just like this like safe opportunity or like UNC, because I didn't know if I had to get into UNC first. And so if I had to wait to get into UNC, then I maybe would not have had like some mid-major opportunities because you had to commit a little bit earlier. So I remember it was like really down to the wire, and then I just thought that, I prayed about it a lot and just thought that, why not try it and just, see how things went. So,
That's awesome. And yeah, I can't even imagine how stressful that is. Just going through, I think back to my recruiting process, just how stressful that is to begin with. And then
mhm.
you put the timeline on it and it's like, whew, like God help me out here. But it is so cool that you really just followed that heart and in the prayers that you were praying to go to a school that you adored and loved. And so I love hearing that. And I think it's gonna be cool for people who are listening to this to hear that and now see you in a UNC jersey and wearing that Carolina blue and just being really able to live out the dream. But I'd love to know just about this moment on in February 2024 when your locker room absolutely exploded when the coach announced that you would be honored with a scholarship. Can you just describe? I got like emotional watching it. It was amazing. Can you
Mhm.
describe what that moment was like?
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy because I was just never expecting that. Like I was not expecting to get a scholarship, and even in that moment, like I was still a freshman, still figuring things out. I always felt like I was behind. Like I would try my best, but I felt like I was always behind, so I would just try to be a great teammate. But that moment was like so surreal. My dad was coming because we were playing Duke the next week, and coach told us that he was giving like a speech, like a preparation speech or something, like a pregame speech. So, and I genuinely believed it up until the point like things just felt like there were more people in the
But
locker room
were
than
other
all.
parents giving speeches?
Oh,
No.
no, but that's
That's
because
okay. I'm also pretty gullible. I'm
yeah,
also
I
pretty gullible.
know.
It's like my a huge fault of mine. I'll believe anything anybody tells me. Like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. So cool.
Yeah, no, yeah, I am pretty gullible, so that probably helped too. But no, yeah, it was just so crazy to, Yeah, and like all my teammates like in there at that moment, like, it was so awesome. I just thank God, that
Mhm.
that happened. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And what did it mean to you to have your teammates react the way that you did? Because you said, you kind of had felt behind, and you just said you wanted to just make sure I was being a great teammate, and for you to put in that hard work for them, and then to see almost a return in a way of like them celebrating you. What did that mean to you?
yeah, it was so special. Like that's always been one of my favorite things, just being on a team. And I just love, like, I mean, it's just such a blessing that they were excited for me like that. And that we were, I feel like that just also brought us together in that moment. And yeah, it meant a lot. Like, especially, it didn't feel like it at the time because I was so like all over the place and like people were like picking me up and stuff. But to look back and to see it, like, it was just very special. And I'm very thankful for them and love them always.
It also says a lot about you just having that opportunity as a freshman, right? So quickly in your career, and for the coaches to see something in you so quickly, on and off the court, I'm sure. But I did talk to one of your teammates earlier this week, and they absolutely raved about just your contagious positivity and the joy that you bring to the team on and off the court. And I just would love to know from you, like, what are some things that maybe you do to maintain that joy for yourself, but also for your teammates to see? Because sometimes as athletes, it might not be exactly something might not be exactly what we want in the moment individually, but you know that you're going to put your team success in front of your own.
Yeah, I definitely think that that all starts like with my faith and stuff. Cause I mean, and you know it too, like you always go through like bumps and, highs and lows with your sport, but really just like spending time with the Lord and, going to his word, praying, like whatever it is, like even like team Bible study or, athletes in action, FCA, that's been a great thing for me, but just trying to like really just rest in him and spend time with him so that, I can be filled and I can go into my team or go into school or go into whatever and just like, oh, I mean, kind of overflow or just, be filled and, have that, try to be positive or try to be encouraging and stuff. And like, I can do that because, have that relationship and my faith is super big. So that's a big one. And then my family and friends too, like just spending time with them outside of sports, like being filled in other ways beside my sport. Um, and also too with sports, I just feel like one of the most rewarding things for me has always been like just like a team thing. Like when I look back and think about the times when I've been the most happy or felt the most success, it's been when like multiple people have succeeded. So just remembering that and like carrying that, if we all try to encourage each other and do well as a unit, we will succeed and like we'll be happy and stuff. So those are some of the things that I think of.
Well, that's definitely what that moment was in the locker room with your teammates. And you said so much good there. And something I want to point out is just being filled by an Athletes in Action or an FCA so that you can be that overflow to your teammates and going to team Bible study and filling yourself with the word. Because if you're just expending yourself and not pouring back into yourself and growing in that way and being encouraged in that way, you have nothing to give your teammates, right? And like that's the most important thing, is to be able to overflow with that. And I think there have been so many times throughout my life on, whether I'm in athletics or not, that it's like I can very much tell when I'm burnt out and am not pouring into myself and leaning into the word and being encouraged myself and listening to people who have more wisdom than I do. But I think a huge part of college athletics that I experienced was just this kind of up and down of playing time, not playing time, injured, not injured, sideline celebrations, starting, like all the like whatever it was throughout high school and college. And I would just love to ask you about it because you're an incredible talented athlete who's now making this decision not to go to a school where you're getting recruited in a way, and you're saying, "Hey, I'm going to go walk on and I'm going to fight for my spot on this team." Can
Mm-hmm.
you just walk me through, because I can imagine there's so many athletes that are on similar positions even on their team right now. Can you just walk me through the perspective and the attitude that you had through that season of coming to one of the most incredible universities and basketball programs in the country?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been like one of the most challenging yet like rewarding things in my life. And sometimes I'm like, God, like why am I here? Like this is really hard, like in a good way. Because I feel like I'm constantly learning. And when I first came in, I remember thinking a lot like, I don't know if I'm qualified yet to be here, like athletic wise, skill wise, like this is a big jump for me. And I remember like thinking that a lot. And then a verse that I kind of leaned back a lot in that time was like I don't know exactly the where it is, but it's like my grace is sufficient for you. Like I remember always leaning back on that, like, okay, it's okay if I'm not qualified right now. Like I'm just gonna try my best, and I know that God will be with me in that. I'll get better. I'll learn. I'll grow. But that's been a constant thing, and just trying to be present. To wherever I am on the journey. Whether I'm doing really well or not doing really well, and just remembering. I always like tell myself, have fun, do your best, and God will have the rest. So that's something I try to tell myself.
I love that. That's gonna be stuck in my head now. So I'm gonna write that down after this episode because I love that phrase. And I think that is so key what you said about almost having that self-doubt of like, should I be here right now? And I think that happens to athletes even when you're playing really well and
Mhm.
you've maybe seen the success already. And I
Mhm.
know for me that thought has crept in to my mind throughout my college experience. And it really took me stepping back and saying, okay, God gave me this opportunity to be on this great team. Like I am here only because of him, right? And he also gave you and I the physical ability to compete on that team. And
Yeah.
whether you are starting, you are on the sideline injured, you are playing scout team, like you're going to work as thou that is like the most important thing that you are tasked with at the
Yes.
moment. And I think
Yes.
college athletics, right? Not everyone's going to go on and play pro. So
Mhm.
it's like, how can I absolutely expend my sideline celebration energy? How can I absolutely expend my God given talent to run up and down the field or up and down the court? And I think having that perspective is so much more helpful when you look at those feelings of doubt and
Mhm.
that, oh goodness, it's like, no, God brought you here for a reason. And
Yes.
whatever you're going to do, you got to do it as if you're working for the Lord. And so I
Yes.
just love that perspective. And clearly your teammates can see it so evidently out of you. And so I just love that they said that about you. But I do want to ask you about an awesome moment that I saw on your social media that you got baptized this
Mhm.
fall. So what led to that decision?
Yeah. I I've been going to church for a while, and have been in my faith for a long time, but I just never got baptized. Um I always, when I was younger, I always thought that you had to like work up to baptism, like when I was like young, like a teenager. And then I realized that, of course, there's nothing that we can do, to earn our way with God, or, to be like at a certain level in our faith. So, me and my teammates go to this church. It's called Grace Church in Chapel Hill. And we've been going there for a while, and, they were talking about baptisms and stuff. And I was like, I think it would be a great time, to be baptized. And, some of my teammates were able to come, and my family. And, so yeah, I just felt, like, why not, do it right now. And, it was awesome. And I'm so happy that I was able to do it.
I love that. And it's cool that you've been able to be a part of that community because I think in college it's so easy to kind of just go around with your little bubble.
Mhm.
And it's so important to get out, meet other people in and outside of your school and be poured into in that way. And you already mentioned FCA and Athletes in Action, but I'd love to know, when did you first get involved with that group?
I think it was very early on my freshman year. I had a teammate. Her name was Paulina Paris. She went here, but now she goes to SMU. But we lived together, and she was like, I go to, FCA, so, just come with me. Like, I'll pull you along and stuff. And then I remember I went there, and I just kept going ever since, and got like more plugged in, because I was like, this is amazing. Just every week being able to just come together with these people, especially like outside of your sport, outside of your bubble, like you said, every week, and just be encouraged. And, just that community is super important. So I'm grateful for my teammate that drug me along. Because when I was a freshman, I feel like I would have been scared to go in the first place. So.
And sometimes you need people. Like you could even be sold out for the Lord and sold out for Jesus. And number one, not know about it. Or
Mhm.
number two, not have the courage to be like, all right, I don't know anyone in this group. I don't know where the meeting is. You're trying to find the hallway that it's in. Like you're confused. You don't know what to expect. And so it can be intimidating. And sometimes you need those older people on your team to just say, hey, I am taking you to do this. And I
Yes.
think that is so awesome. Awesome. And I'm sure it's taught you lessons about now how you want to lead as an upperclassman on that team as well. But I'm curious, just throughout your time, investing in that church and investing in FCA or Athletes in Action, and just the experiences that you've had as a college athlete, is there anything that you feel like through these, first 3 years in college basketball, the Lord has really taught you or opened your eyes to through the sport?
Mhm. Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like it's been so much. So much. But I feel like one of the number one things is just surrendering everything to him. I know that sounds so basic and people say it a lot, but just like giving up, I feel like oftentimes, or at least when I came into college, I had like a plan of just how I wanted things to go, and we do that in life all the time, like just plan things out, but like really just taking things day by day and just giving everything, like your hopes, your dreams, everything to him, because whatever he has is so much better. And really just being present in the moment, like being present to what's right in front of you, whether that's people or places or whatever experiences. But that's been like a really big thing, because oftentimes I feel like we try to control and like try to hold on to things so tightly. And then, we just end up going through life, kind of just tight, and I don't know, it's not what he fully has prepared for us. So just that every day, trying to just surrender, be in the moment, take it day by day.
I love that, everything you said, and especially just the everyday. Because, like you said, people say it a lot. It seems easy to say, but it's like, no, that's an everyday thing that
Yeah.
you have to choose. And I
Mhm.
definitely, just looking at this week that I've had, I definitely have not chosen surrender every single day. And when you hold things so tightly, you're not leaving room for the Lord to move and the Lord to
Mhm.
work. And I actually
Yeah.
saw on TikTok the other day, somebody was explaining, like, this is my year long calendar. And they had like a stick up year calendar. And it, like, I started kind of freaking out. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I can't even fathom my year already."
Uh-huh.
And I think in a way that's good because you want to have authority over your plan and you don't want to be lazy and you want to make sure that you're working towards a goal. So like all those things are great and the Lord calls us to work and not to
Right.
be lazy in
Yeah.
ways. But also I love what you're saying about just day by day and allowing the Lord to work in your life. And yeah, I think if you hold things too closely, it's dangerous. And also, it's so important for you to say that because think about your schedule as a college athlete. You're trying to do all these things with school and basketball and go to church and clubs and have movie time with your teammates. Like there is a
Mhm.
lot going on, and just having that perspective and enjoying the moment and being present is so important. I think for you to fully consume what is in front of you at UNC and the awesome things that come with that. But I do got to know a little bit more about this UNC team this year. Is there a
Mhm.
team tradition that you guys always do on the road?
It's funny because we don't I know some teams get ice cream after they win or like something like that. But no, we don't have any like tradition. I just feel like we always like to hang out with each other after so we always have this thing called mobility at night, which is where we're supposed to like calm down because like we stretch and do mindfulness and stuff, and then they like want us to go to bed. But normally we always love to like hang out with each other after, like in the rooms. And we always love because we sometimes we go to the arena early, like if it's an away trip. But we just always love like the pregame dances in the locker room. Like that's just such a fun time. But we don't have like any like traditions that have
Well,
like
mobility at night can count. That was, I guess, you would call
yeah.
like a tradition for my team as well. After team dinner on the road, we always got down laying on like the hotel carpet floor,
Yes.
and we were doing like partner stretches. So that technically counts as a tradition. But I have to know because you mentioned it. Who's the best dancer on the team?
Mm.
You can say yourself if that's the truth.
So I think I'm the most maybe entertaining dancer. I don't think
Okay.
I'm the best, but I think I can definitely like, m- make. my dancing is probably like funny to make fun of.
Hey, somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to get the team riled up for the game. And listen,
Right.
if it's entertaining, it's entertaining. It doesn't matter if it's great or bad or whatever it is. It's entertaining. So
Yes.
I love that. I also love asking players in the middle of their season, hey, what's a phrase or something that your coach is constantly saying this season? So what has your coach been constantly saying this season?
That's a great question because our coach normally does have things that she says. Like last year, she would always say ABC, always be closing. It's random, but it was like meant to be like during the week when we would have maybe 2 to 3 games, like you always close your games. Like we want to close the week. We want it to be a sweep week. Um but we would always joke about it like in the
You're
locker room.
like closing out. You're like ABC,
Yeah,
ABC.
yeah. Yes. But
That's funny.
yeah, this year she's just been emphasizing the word together a lot. Like whatever we do, we like do it together. Like that's where we'll have the most reward and that's where we'll have the most fun too. So she's been emphasizing that word a lot. But that's funny
Well,
that you asked
good.
that.
Whether you're watching movies or you're in the dance circle, or you are on a trap, press full court press, trapping somebody, do it together. But
Yeah.
Sydney, I'll ask you one final question that I love asking the guests on the What's Up podcast is: do you wear headphones or no headphones pregame?
So in high school, I would always wear headphones. But now I normally don't because sometimes I do aux in the locker room.
So
So
you're like the most entertaining dancer, and you're on aux. You got like the most important responsibilities on the team right now.
no, sometimes it varies, but sometimes like if I look around and I'm like, okay, people are locked in and stuff, like okay, I'll put some music on. And it's funny because you always have to gauge like the vibe, like do people want a chill vibe, like calm vibe, do people want an upbeat vibe? But yeah, I normally don't wear them now because I just try to put the music on in the locker room.
That is a hard job that I think is underrated and is not talked about enough. So it is impressive to know that you do that. I gotta know, is there a go-to song where you're like, I'm in the middle of the vibe. I don't really know what the vibe is. What's like the, hey, I know this works regardless song for you? Or artist, I guess, because that's a hard question.
Uh-huh. Yeah, a lot. It's funny that you asked that because yeah, sometimes I'm like, is it rap? Is it um I don't know, like pop, whatever. But what a lot of our teammates actually like is like Hispanic music. I know it's that's fun, like kind of random, but a lot of people love to like salsa or
Okay.
also like as funny as it is, like Sexy Red, always people like
They get going.
yeah, it really gets it hype. Um and yeah, I'm trying to think of like a specific song, but I just feel like it is so like
Up and down.
so
You got
yeah.
to read the temperature. That's a hard job, and definitely nobody was looking to pick me for that anyway, but I definitely avoided it at the same time. But Sydney, seriously, it's been so nice getting to know you, and I'm so excited to cheer your team on this season and watch you on TV, and hopefully when you come to the area soon. But seriously, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you have a crazy schedule and just sharing your heart, and yeah, we're cheering you on.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. For real.
Go Tar Heels. Woo!
Yes. Yes.